Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jonathan Taylor. I'm the Technical Marketing Manager for Civil Survey Solutions, and today I'm introducing you to the technical webcast for AutoCAD Fields 101. Today your presenter is Selwyn. How are you going, Selwyn?
I'm doing well, thanks, Jonathan. And welcome, everyone. Today we're going to be looking at AutoCAD Fields. I've specified AutoCAD. The field options are available in AutoCAD and all verticals for AutoCAD. So you've got your Civil 3D and your architecture and all that sort of stuff. Fields also are available in BricsCAD if you're a BricsCAD user. So just so any of the CAD software that we deal with, you're able to use fields in that software. So what are fields? Fields have been around for quite a while now. AutoCAD 2005 was when they were introduced. The fields that you put into a drawing, it's usually for objects or labels that you feel may change over time. Say an area of a polygon, if you stretch that, the area of that polygon will change, and also the perimeter. So we can actually apply a field to an object in our CAD software, and if you modify that object, the field will update to display whatever the modifications have been done, and it'll be accurate all the time. So fields can be added to almost any type of text in your drawing, and this includes tables. You can create sums of tables, averages and things like that, and you can also apply fields to attributes, and usually with title blocks and things like that. And if you're using the sheet set manager, you'd probably be familiar with fields being used in attributes. When we've got an editing command for a table or a text entry, you'll also find on the right hand, when you right click, that the field option or insert field will be able to be found on the shortcut menu. I will show you where to locate the field tools in AutoCAD as we go through. So today, we don't really have an agenda, we just have some things that we're going to look at. Fields aren't really a process that you go through from A through to Z. You do certain settings and the fields obey whatever settings you have. So we'll be looking at where to control the settings, how they regenerate, if they update automatically, and the style of display of them. So that'll be our first thing, is to look at our settings. Then we'll look at applying basic fields. So we're just going to label our drawing, say with the drawing name or something like that. And during that time, we'll be looking at formatting the fields. So if it's a numeric field, how do we get rid of the leading and trailing zeros if we want, or if we want to change the text entry to uppercase, or any sort of situation with modifying the text. We'll also have a look at field categories. There's quite a lot of fields, and if you're using Civil 3D or any of the verticals of the Autodesk products, you'll also have additional fields available. We'll be able to query your Civil 3D objects and your architectural objects, or wherever they may be in your drawing. We can also, I touched on earlier, we can have fields associated with objects. When I was talking about like the area and perimeter of a polyline or a polygon, we can actually associate the field with the object, with the polygon. So if that polygon changes or that object changes, the field will update also. We'll also be looking at formulas in fields. Only very basic sort of formulas we'll be looking, like add and subtract or divide. So that's pretty much what we're going to cover today. It's going to be sort of all over the place, but it will make sense, I feel, trying to work out what a field is. I do have a drawing here which has some fields in it. If I click on the right drawing, you'll see here I have a piece of text. It's a single piece of text. If I double click on that, I can edit it, and you'll see that this entry here has a grey background, and here it displays as a background. So this signifies that we have a piece of text that has a field applied to it. So we're going to have a look at how we display fields in our drawing. So the first thing that we'll look at is the options and how we display the fields. So we click on Customize, or you can type options at the command line, or settings. But I'm just going to click on the spanner and click on options. And it's appeared off screen, so I'll just bring that across to here. And we're going to have a look at user preferences. The field controls are all within this area here. So here it says display background of fields. Please be aware that it shows a background here, but when you go to plot, that grey will not plot. It's merely to signify that there's a field associated with that piece of text. If I click on display background of fields and turn that off, click apply, and you'll see now, once the screen refreshes, that it doesn't show the background. And you wouldn't know that that was a field. So I would recommend leaving that turned on so you can see your fields. So I'll just click apply again. And it just makes them stand out a little bit when you're working with fields. We also have over here field update settings. Fields don't update automatically. That you need to run a regen. If you're staying in the drawing, you need to regenerate your drawing to update your fields. So in here, we have automatically update fields. We can update our fields when a drawing opens, when it saves, and when it plots. So these three options I would recommend being set at all times, because you may not have regenerated and you go to plot and those fields may be out of date. So as long as this is on, you'll plot and all the fields will update themselves prior to plotting. If you're e-transmitting a file, it's worth having the fields updated as well. So you could leave e-transmit on, and I would recommend leaving the regen option turned on at all times, just so the fields do regenerate and update. So that's the only controls we have over the display of fields and how we update them. So please, regen is an important one, because if we regenerate the drawing and that option is off, that the field will not update when you regen. It will only update when I save, plot, and the other options are in there. Okay, so we'll just go to a basic drawing, and I'm going to show you where we locate the field options. On the Insert tab of the ribbon, over under the Import area, there's a button called Field. So if we click on that, it will start up the Field tool, and you'll see within here, these are all the fields, all the items in the product that we're able to associate fields to. Unfortunately, that's quite a long list. If we go in here and we look at the different field categories, we'll see that we have breakdowns of different types of fields. So if I go into date and time, we have the create date. Say if we're going to create a plot, an item on your title block for when you plot, we can actually go through and we can add the plot date, when the drawing was saved, today's date, and a few other items in there. You'll also notice over on the right-hand side, we have the different ways of formatting the item that we're looking at. And you'll also notice down the bottom that there is a field expression. So sometimes you might want to use that field in another field, and you can just copy Control-C and copy that and paste it into another field if need be, which we'll do later in the session. Date and time, we look at document. We can see who the author is, any comments that are applied to the drawing, file name. And if we look here, we've got file name. We can show file name only, path only, path and file name. And we can also show the file extension. We also have, when we're dealing with text, we have the options of setting uppercase, lowercase, first capital, and title case. File size, you can import that field if you need it. If you can actually insert hyperlinks into your drawing based on fields also. Keywords are the entries that you would have in your drawing properties. I'll show you drawing properties in a moment. People may not be familiar with that, but for our first task today, we're going to create some drawing properties and we'll reference those properties as fields. Last save by, whoever last saved the drawing, that's my login name there. So, sorry, SAM. We've got subjects and we've got titles. You'll see once we populate drawing properties, we'll have more information in here. We also have linked files, so we can hyperlink. We also have an option here of objects. So if we're creating a block, we can create a field in the block. We can also use formulas, so that's handy with tables and things like that. Or if we're doing a drawing continuation, we might want to add a formula, and whatever the field is in here, we can actually create a formula here. We can sum, count, you know, it's all fairly straightforward, just normal spreadsheet tools here. Named objects. Named objects are objects in your drawing like layers, line types, blocks, all that sort of stuff. So here, my drawing is fairly empty, but if I come into here, I can click on layer and it shows me what layers are in here, and then I can format that to display on screen as a field if I want. The interesting one here is object. Object allows you to associate with a particular object in your drawing, and you will be able to extract that information out and apply it to an object. So I might just initially, I've got a rectangle in here. My field category is objects, and I'm going to objects and then object once more because I want to reference an object in my drawing. So over here, we've got object type. I'm going to click on this button here so I can select an object, just to show you what would happen if I have an object selected. So you'll see this is a closed polyline, and the items that I'm able to report on a polyline are area, if it's closed, the color it's set to, the elevation, the width of the polyline, the layer, the length, line type generation, line weight, material, and a few other options in here. So for a basic one, I want to know what the area of that item is. So I will click on area, and you'll see here that it's showing me a preview of what that text would be. So that's the area of our polyline or our rectangle. Down here, we have an option for precision. At the moment, it's getting the precision out of the drawing units setting in AutoCAD. So what I want to do is I want to change it to 3 decimal places, and you'll see that that changes to 3 decimal places. We can also go into additional format. I'll just bring that one on screen. And here we have additional format. If your drawing was in meters and you want, so this is reporting square meters. If you want it at hectares, you will put a conversion factor of 0.0001, and you'll see here that's what the figure would be when it gets plotted onto your screen using the field. I'll remove that at the moment. We're able to add a prefix and we're able to add a suffix. So we might add area, and I'll leave suffix empty. What we're going to have for the decimal point, which is period for Australia, and if we're going to put commas in if it's more than 1,000, or whatever however you want to label that one. We can also suppress the leading and trailing numbers if they're zeros on either end. But I'm just going to click on OK here, and you'll see that I have an item in here that states area 169.3.446. So that's the area of our rectangle. If I was to change the rectangle, the size of it, or the position, or whatever it may be, you'll see that the field does not update. However, if we go back to the options, if you recall, under here, I had regen checked. So I'll turn that off for the moment, apply and close, okay, and I'll regen the drawing, and you'll see that the field does not update. If I go back into options, update field settings, regen, apply and close, okay, and now I'll regen the drawing, and that figure has changed. So that is the actual area of the object that we have associated with. So I'll regen again, and you'll see that that will update. We can also come back in here, double click. It's just a piece of text. So if we have a look at, sorry, if I just highlight and you click over here, it's only a piece of end text, and it's got a field associated with it. So we might area, I'll go to the end, and I'm just going to go meters squared. I'll go to another line. I can right click and I can click insert field. So I can insert another field in that piece of text. So I could also go back here, associate again, pick that piece of that polyline, and now we want to get the length. I'll go additional format, and I'll put perimeter. And OK, and OK, and that's the perimeter of our object. So if that changes, I'll regen once more, and those figures update. So you'll see with a field, you'll be able to have a piece of text, and when you modify the object that it's associated with, that field will update and stay current. So that's just a basic field. We're going to now take a look at a title block. And what we've got here is just a basic title block that I've created. I have no entries in here. Normally, if we have a look at this title block here, you'll see that we've got fields for everything that's in here. Okay, and that's associated with a sheet set. So the sheet set is reading the information, sorry, the fields are reading the information from the sheet set that that's associated with. But what we're going to do on this one is we're going to create some drawing properties in our drawing. I'll just open up a, I'm just going to type DWG properties. DWG props, and this will bring up this window here. So this is just so we can get some information into our drawing. So we've got general, we've got summary. We might give the drawing a title, and I'll just call this let's call it temporary works. And I'll call it car park. Don't worry about the capitalization and things like that. We'll sort that out when we insert the field. So I've done lowercase, I've got a mixture of case. I'm just going to put my initials in here for author. I can put some keywords, comments, and a hyperlink base if I want. We also have over here, we've got statistics that shows how long we've been editing in here. But what we're going to go over to is custom, and what we're going to do is we're going to create a couple of custom properties. So I'm going to add a custom property, and I'll put approved by, and I'll put just a couple of initials in there, and I'm going to add a file number, and we'll call this CSS 2011. So we've got approved by, we've got file number, and we've also got the title, subject, and author. So I've only got 5 entries in here that I've put, and that's all we'll be looking at today, just to give you an idea of how that can be looked at. So I'm going to save, actually, I'll do a save as. I just need to locate that drawing. And what I'm going to do, so we have this file here. I have the drawing title block. I'm going to save that title block now. So that should have saved. And now, if we have a look in here, we right click and I'll add a couple of items. I'll add author. It's creator. Okay, that's not displaying as I would expect. We can actually show some of the drawing properties in Explorer. I've just gone a little bit blank just at the moment. I apologise, guys.
Selwyn, just while you're resolving that, we had an interesting question come in, which we might maybe answer at the end. I'm not too sure, but basically,
okay, go for it.
If you've got a field, is it possible to find the object related to that field?
No, there's no reverse. No.
Okay,
You could use some Lisp or something like that to locate what the field is.
Yes.
Or what it's associated with.
Yeah, but otherwise, no. Yeah, the research I've done suggests Lisp as well. Yeah, the people have
Lisp or Diesel
and things. Yeah, but no, yeah, it's odd. Yeah, there's no way of actually going. Well, what I've got a field here. Where's the object?
No.
Great. All right. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no, that's
the question as well.
That's not possible. Sorry.
No. Well, it's good we answered it. Thank you.
Okay. So I'm just going to reference some of those drawing properties that I just had. If you recall, I put file number in the drawing properties. If I double click on this, this is an attributed block. So what I'm going to do, it's just made that entry current. I'm just going to right click here, insert field. And if we go back to document, you'll see here that we now have approved by, an entry for that one. We have an entry for author. We didn't place anything in comments. We placed an entry for file number, which is this one here that I want to associate with. So file number, I'll change it to uppercase just to ensure it's uppercase all the time. Okay, and that field's been associated there. If I go in and I'll go to this one here, just double click on that entry, right click, insert field, and this one, it was title, uppercase. So if you recall before, I had mixed case for things, so I can actually change it to be title case, first capital, uppercase, or lowercase. But normally for a title block, for me, it's usually uppercase. So okay on that one, and I'll just go to this entry here, and I'll insert field here. And this one would be, it's got to find the car park subject. So uppercase again. Okay. So now we have those entries based on the drawing properties that we created. So I've got temporary works, I've got car park, and I've also got the file number. If I come in here and modify these here, I'll just go stage 1. Okay, and you'll see that nothing's happened in here. However, when I regen, it updates. So you'll see that the text that I've modified, it updates on screen here. Another little one here is we've got a scale bar. Normally you put like 5 here and 10 here or something like that. I'm just going to show you. So it's 1 to, we'll just make it 1 to 10. So I'll just put 10 in here. And what we need to do is this figure here needs to be the number 10 multiplied by 2 to get this figure here. So what we're going to do here, click on this one, right click, insert field, and we'll go back to object. And we'll go to object, select, and we'll choose that one there. So I chose the object, and we want to look at, sorry, the one we want to refer to is the 10. We'll just look at the value of that. So that value is 10. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to copy that field entry. So down here, I'm just going to highlight everything, Control C. So I have that field. Go OK here. And what I'm going to do here is edit this entry. And I'm going to go to Formula. I'm going to paste that field in here so it looks like a field. And now I'm going to do times 2. If I click on Evaluate, you'll see that it now becomes 20. So what we've done, we've copied the field from here into this entry, and then we've multiplied it by 2. Okay, okay. So now it's 1 to 10, the drawing. If we found out it was the wrong scale, double click on there, we'll change it to 1 to 50. Okay. The field is not updated, so we'll just regen. And you'll see that it now is double the number of this one here. You have the normal tools. You've got multiplication, you've got division, you've got add and subtraction are available in here for these formulas for this type of situation. Okay, so another one, we might need to do a plot stamp on our drawing. I know there's different ways of doing plot stamp. You could just do plot stamp and create your plot stamp in this way. However, I'm going to create a plot stamp using fields just to show you how you can do that. So I'm just going to edit this title block. So it should now be editable. Okay, so I have this entry here. So what I want to do is I want to add the plot date, what plotter I've used to plot with, the time. So what we're going to do, this is just a piece of text I've already put in here. So I'll just double click on that. And I'm just going to go right click, insert field. And what we're going to do here is we're going to select document. Sorry, not document, date and time. So here we have plot date. I can choose the format that I want. At the moment, we're just going to go normal Australia date. So I'm going to place that one in there. You'll see that it's come up with dashes in our field. That means that the drawing has not been plotted previously. So it's showing you that it's a valid entry. So I'm going to do plot date. I'll come back here, I'll do comma, insert field again. And we're just going to go time. So that I'll put our plot time in there. I'll do another comma and I'll put another field, insert field. And what we're going to do here is go into document and we're going to put the file name of our drawing. So here we have the options of title case, uppercase, and all that sort of stuff. So I'm just going to go uppercase. I have the choice of applying only the path, only the file name, whether I display the extension. But normally when we're doing a plot stamp, we want the whole thing. So I'll go plot, path and file name and display file extension. Okay. I'll just zoom out a bit. I'm just going to put that on a new line. And then when I click on OK here, we've got our drawing name in because it can reference that one already. I'm going to click on Save Changes to update that block. OK to that. And you'll see that now we have no entries in here. However, when I go to plot, I'll just go Control P and I'll just accept the defaults. If we now, sorry, we'll just ignore that. So now when we regenerate, we have the date and time it was last plotted. And that will stay the same until you plot the drawing once more.
Selwyn.
Yes.
Just a question which has come through from Michael, basically saying about whether or not you know, reading the scale directly for the viewport and using that in the scale bar would be an option, basically. And I suppose yes.
Well, you can, yes.
Yeah, it's an option.
I was just about to do a scale thing on these two drawings, these two windows here. So I've got this main window and I've also got the enlargement of this area here.
Great.
This window, I'll just make it 1 to 1,000, and this one I'll make 1 to 500. So 1 to 1,000 on this side, 1 to 500 on this side. So I've got a piece of text here. I could come in here, edit it, go new line, insert field, or I can come up here to insert field, and I can do the field that way. However, it'll be another piece of text. So in this situation, I'm just going to go in and edit, right click, go to a new line, insert field, and we'll go back to objects, and we'll go object here, and we're going to select this viewport. So select object, and then we can come in here and it will show you all the options that are available to plot or to display in the field. So what we're going to do is come down here and we're going to go to standard scale, and you'll see that it's come up with 1 to 1,000. Okay, so that puts that scale in there. We'll do the same thing on this one. Let's go through the same process, enter, insert field, object, and I'll choose this other viewport, and we'll go down to standard scale. So you see that one there, it says 1 to 500, and that's what those viewports are. If I was to go into the viewport and I'll change its scale to 250, when I go to plot, that would update. However, I'll just regen, and you now see that it's updated to the scale of the viewport. The thing with the scale bar is set, it's done on distance, not rather than just 1 to whatever it is. If your scale was 1 to 1,000 or something like that, you could actually place the label in here as a text field. Okay. So I'm just going to show you a simple one in here. We've got a series of drawings in the sheet set. You'll see here we've got sheets continue on from each other. So I've got this drawing here. This is sheet 846, and you'll see here that it joins onto 847, which is this next drawing here. And you'll see back here it's joining onto 846, which is the adjoining drawing. So all we've done in this drawing is, if I double click on the field, edit it, you'll see that if I we've got a field in here, 847. If I double click on that field, it will tell you where I'm getting that field from. So it's looking at the VRD sheet number that's in our drawing. There's no formatting on it, so just okay. And then what I'm doing is I'm subtracting 1. So it goes 1 less than the 847. So here it says 846. The code that we were looking for before was this sheet number here. So if we come back to the other end, or maybe the other drawing, we have the same thing here, 847. This is 846. The next drawing along is 847. So we'll just go in and edit that one. And you'll see that now it's just +1. So that'll be the VRD sheet number +1. So in the joining sheet, all you need to do is just grab your field or your object in your drawing, and you just add or subtract 1 or 2 or 3, you know, however your drawings are set up. Okay, we'll go back to this drawing here. So we've got perimeters and areas in this, and we know that it changes when we regenerate and stuff like that. We also have tables. We might want to get a total in a table. You can actually go in and add a formula. Sorry, if I click on pipe length, if we right click, we've got insert. We can insert a block. So just for symbology, we can insert a field and we can insert a formula. When it comes to a table, field and formula are pretty much the same thing. However, we're just going to go to field this time, and we want to get the total length of these pipes to appear in this window here. So we go formula, sum, and it's asking us for the cells to work with. So similar to Excel, we just go and we select the fields that the entries that we want, and it comes up with a entry similar to a spreadsheet. So that's our preview. So that's what it's going to print on screen. We probably want to get rid of one of the decimal places. So we'll just go 3 decimal places. We don't need any additional format. However, you can add prefixes, suffixes, all that sort of stuff. Delete your zeros. However, we'll just leave it to 3 decimal places. Okay. Sorry about the size of that, but it's a different font. But you'll see that it is the total. Sorry, I'll just make that a bit smaller. Let's go 2.5. Okay, so we've got that number here. I'm just going to make that a little bit wider just so we can see it a bit clearer. So we've got a total. If we change any of these figures in here, let's go. So the numbers changed, the field hasn't. Regen should have updated. Oh no, it updates automatically, sorry. So yeah, whenever I change, that field will update. I would recommend when you're using fields, you don't regen after every use, because if you've got a lot of fields or a big drawing, it's going to take additional time, you know, why you regenerate, because you're going to be, you know what you're putting on screen. If it doesn't signify what you're expecting, when you do a regen, all fields in the drawing will be updated, whether it's just one field or hundreds of fields in the drawing. So depending upon your workflow and stuff like that, you know, if you've only got a couple of fields, update them and just decide when you want to regen. In a drawing like this, regeneration takes no time at all. But when you're in a 20 meg file or something like that, every time you regenerate, that's going to delay your productivity. So just the same as any regen will slow you down ultimately, unless you just need to refresh that screen. And yeah, so here, right click, you have no options for fields. If you have an object and right click, you'll be able to insert a field. If you're starting a field from scratch, go to the Insert tab, click on Field, and you'll be able to insert a field based on your text settings that you already have applied to your drawing. If you're using the menu bar, you'll find over here on the Insert tab, we have Field. And like any of the other tools on the ribbon, so I'll just turn the menu bar back off. You can right click and you can add a quick access bar if you're using fields a lot. Okay, that's pretty much 101 of fields, I suspect, Jonathan. Anything else that any questions or?
No, we've answered a couple. Like you say, this is a 101, so we're not going into all the the deeper, heavy stuff as yet. But if there's demand through feedback, etc., then maybe that's something we'll look at doing later on, maybe this year. Although to be fair, I think most of the webcasts for the rest of the year, certainly the AutoCAD webcasts for the rest of the year, are more or less secure based on a poll that we did at the end of July. The result even was high for things like fields and parametrics. Then going further down the list, we ended up with, I think, XREFs, and then the other one was customization of workspaces. What I might do is very quickly share my screen to close off. The agenda for the October webcast will be probably set in stone next week. So have a look out for the newsletter for what's going to be agreed on for the next 4 forthcoming webcasts for October. And they'll be agreed very shortly. If you want the recording for this particular webcast, it will be available on our YouTube channel. Other than that, Selwyn, thank you very much for.
Yep, thank you, everyone.
Webcast. Yeah.
Thank you for your attendance.
Thank you, and we look forward to seeing many of you very soon. Thank you.